right, guys, today I can't wait to get creative with you. We're going to be painting a space nebula. This is going to be a background for a larger space project, and it's going to involve some shading, okay, and some blending. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to get a mat board, and one side is black and one side is white, and we're going to write our name on the white side. I'm going to write Elkin on mine, okay, there it is. And then we're going to paint this or something similar to it. It does not have to be perfectly blended to look like a space nebula. It's going to look really good. And then also remember that it's going to be in our background, okay? So you're going to get a plate. You can already tell I've used mine. And we're using these really cool makeup blenders today. And the reason we're using the makeup blenders is because the bottom of them are big and rounded, and they make really great blenders for clouds, okay? So I'm gonna set this just kind of right here. It's gonna be over to the side, and we're gonna do ours right here. Okay, I'm actually gonna have to move it. There we go, move it out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the darker blue, and I just got paint on the top of my paint blender. You do not want to do that. Just keep the paint on the bottom, but I'll just have paint on my finger. You're going to get a bright blue, a light blue, a bright pink, a light pink, and a purple, okay? And we're going to use those to blend with. Now, I did a cloud here and a cloud here with space kind of in the middle, but we could also do a little bit more cloud here, like it's disappearing, and maybe use the point on that one. But what you do first is you just kind of draw your cloud shape with the bottom of your blender. So I'm using the bright blue, and I've already used mine, so it has a little bit of light blue in it. But I'm just drawing kind of the shape of the cloud, and that's why these are so good. The other reason, the other thing is that we're using mat boards, and mat boards are great for this kind of stuff because they dry really quick. So it's going to be soaking up all this paint. Okay, whatever you end up with is fine. I've got a lot of paint on the side here, and as I said, I'm going to get all over my hands, and that's fine. So I'm going to bring that blue down a little bit. Just wherever it ends up is fine. It's going to be all over your little table covers, okay? And then I'm going to get the lighter blue, and I'm not going to get very much, okay? It does not take a lot of paint. You just want to get a very little bit at a time. You don't want thick gobs. And I'm going to kind of blend it into what's already there. And this dries really quick, like I said. So it's already going to be kind of drying. And I'm just blending it up into the next color. I'm going to get a little bit more blue. I'm going to wipe it off in the middle. Do a little bit more. See how light and bright that is? But as I blend, it'll be good. Now, if yours doesn't look like mine, that's okay. It's still gonna look like space when we're all done. This is just background for our outer space project, so it'll still look really good. Okay, so do your blues, and then take a break and wait for a second, and I'll show you the pinks and purples, okay? Okay, once you're done with the blues the way you want it, so I kind of have this darker blue cloud, and then you can see this lighter blue is right here. And then it's not the same all the way down, okay? But I'm just constantly using that circular motion. Now I'm gonna do this purple. The purple is a bit of a thinner color, so it won't show up quite as good as your pink, but I'm just gonna come in and do it anyway. And I'm just gonna do a little section of it right here. We don't want any really harsh lines because it's a cloud. And it's okay if, like when you look at this one, you see how there's like some little inconsistencies right there. Okay, at first, if we were doing something else, that might not make us happy, okay? But it does look kind of cool. You can also come through and do some of this and then try to blend it out. But just a little bit of paint at a time. Should be good. Okay, now that you're done with your purple, we're gonna do our dark pink and then our light pink. So I'm gonna take the dark pink, and again, just a little bit. I'm gonna dab it kind of across here where I want it. And you see how it really shows up? And then I'm gonna come back and blend it with that purple that's there and that blue. It's all gonna blend. Blend the dark pink with the light pink and do this last little section right here. And that's still a little bit dark, so I'm going to come back and do just a tiny bit of this light pink in there. And again, I'm still just always using that circular motion. You can always do another layer if it's not light enough. Okay, so there's my first nebula cloud. So now I'm gonna turn it. And what I did on this next one was I started with the pinks and did some blues and then some light blues. I just made it kind of opposite. I do have some black showing in here, which I don't really love, but once it dries, you can kind of come back and do another layer right there if you want to. But you certainly don't have to. And it might also, once it dries, it might also cover that up a little bit better. Okay, so now I'm going to start here, and I did opposite. Now you could do the same. You could do blue, dark blue, light blue, purple, pink. Okay, and I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do some light pink and then some dark pink and then some blue and then some light blue. I didn't do purple on this side, so dark pink. And you just draw your cloud shapes in. This one's smaller. It's like a parting of the clouds in the night sky. And then maybe some light pink. And then I did the darker blue. And then my blue is not as blended on this one as it is on that one. So I'm going to come back through and do some of this. So the nice thing about this is you can always layer. So if you don't like a section, like I don't love this section, I'm going to come back with some more pink. And I'm going to blend that pink with that blue a little bit more. You can just use a little bit of paint at a time though. If you use too much paint, it'll dry quickly, but I just think it looks better with a little bit of paint at a time. So I kind of like these little sections that I'm getting up here. And I'm always using this kind of rounded brush stroke. Okay. And again, if you get some area that you don't like, that's okay, because nobody's going to notice that. Right now, it's the only thing on your canvas or your mat board. But once we get to doing all our other stuff and it gets all dry and we add our planets and stuff on top of it. This is just going to be background. So if you have an area that you don't love, that's okay. Okay, just let it dry and we'll put something on top of it next week. So there's that, and then that, and then I said I did the light blue. So now I'm going to take this light blue. I'm going to come in and I'm just using that circular motion for the clouds. I'm just blending it out into the next color. So blues and purples and pinks. Now if you wanted to, I still have this area right here where that pink-ish, the black is showing through. So I could, if you have an area you don't love, come back in, but you always run the risk of there's some blue in that, okay? Which is okay for me, but just letting you guys know, there's always that. You could, okay guys, so while you were doing that, I was experimenting with this, and I don't like that. I was trying to see if we could do some in the middle here, but I just think if we do these two clouds, it'll look way better, okay? So the last step is we're gonna do some splatters, some little white splatters. And I got my paintbrush just a little bit wet with some water. And then I'm gonna get the water in with the paint. And what that does is it waters it down so that it splatters so much easier. And we're just gonna do splatters for our stars everywhere. And then next week we'll come back on top of this and we will add planets or stars or whatever else we decide to add. Whoops. Okay, don't be like me and do that, but if you do, we can cover that up next week. It's fine. Okay, all right, you guys have fun making your nebulas. I can't wait to see them, and I'll see you guys next week for another video.